Coppedge, Crotchety Old Geek, and welcome to the latest episode of Biz Tech Twists. Ooh. Yeah, seriously. So I'm the CEO of Simplex-IT. I am also the author of 3 books. And recently we were having a conversation about what is it you guys do? What is the goal? And actually we took it from a further step. What is the goal of a managed service provider or any organization that is providing IT services to an organization? And we dealt with all sorts of trying to come up with catchy terms or all-encompassing definition. We wanted to have information technology services that are appropriate to organizations and to help organizations exceed their performance. Geez, we're falling asleep halfway through this. But the idea is a solid one, and the dilemma is a solid one. When you talk about, Ford builds cars. Yeah, they build other stuff as well, whatever. Organizations that do things, you try to define what that thing is, what the goods and services are. What is that what is your client going to end up with at the end of the day because they engage with your organization? And that was our dilemma. And in our particular case, because we do not only what is traditionally called managed services, where we are the IT department for small, medium organizations. But we also run a lot of clients in the co-managed space. The co-managed space, and I've written a couple books on this, kind of the thought leader on that. So we couldn't just say we're going to be your IT provider, because that makes it sound like we're replacing, which is sometimes the case, sometimes not the case, but what sounds like we're replacing the internal IT folks. And we're not adversarial at all. We partner with them and it's a great time. So then we got to thinking, well, what is it that at the end of the day, a client wants, that an organization wants? And that's how we came up with it. Well, they want their IT to be, productive. Okay, yeah. They want it to be successful. Great. They want the organization to be successful. And we just started coming up with all of these empowering terms, whether it be talking about IT, that's great, but at the end of the day, it's the goods and services for the organization that's important. And we also started talking about positivity and the like. But when it comes down to it, because we wanted this to be simple, we want the IT to be strong. Okay, strong is good, because strong, it denotes both a performance, a productivity, security. Strong is a good word. It's what's the word? It's a strong word. Terrific. But we also want it to be reliable. We want it to be basically able to do the things that need to be done. We want it to be able to handle adversity. We want it to be able to adapt, to mature. We want it to be, healthy. Okay. And everything we came up with really danced around. By the way, this is about 3 or 4 years ago that we were running through this. It really danced around that. We wanted to have IT that was healthy. We wanted to have IT that was strong. And when we put that all together, well, and here's the problem, folks. I don't want to get one of those explicit labels on this podcast, especially for the most innocent of reasons. So here's what we're going to go with. We wanted to have strong, healthy IT. Put the letters together, folks. Strong, healthy IT. And the problem was then we thought, well, this is fantastic. This is a great term to use. And it's kind of funny because there's an inside joke. Guess what that spells? Aha, tee-hee. But then we started talking about it from a marketing standpoint. And I actually did a couple of podcasts, or not podcasts. Actually, no, I did a couple of podcasts and webinars and videos where we talked about this dilemma. Directly or indirectly, where we basically said at the end of the day, and I want to be clear here, we're not talking about us having this. We're talking about the client having this. And this is one of the key concepts when we talk about providing IT services. It's not what we do that's important. It's what the results are that organization enjoys. And that's one of the key things. That's one of the key things that makes the co-managed world work so well for us, is because we don't care who does what. I mean, we care from a contractual standpoint and from an understanding standpoint, but we're flexible when we're setting up the relationship. Between the efforts of the internal IT folks, between the efforts of them and ourselves, between the efforts of them, ourselves, and whatever goods and services we're bringing to bear, the results are the organization is enjoying that strong and healthy IT. So yes, we're basically saying the employees are having some good, yeah. And again, I don't want the explicit sticker.
Are you fed up with reactive IT providers who take too long to respond, let problems fester, and nickel and dime you for every little thing? Say goodbye to those frustrations by choosing Simplex-IT, home of Amazon's best-selling author and BizTech Twist host Bob Coppedge. As Northeast Ohio's friendly neighborhood MSP, Simplex-IT has been providing top-notch managed and co-managed IT services since 2007, supporting hundreds of clients locally and across the United States. With a managed service provider like Simplex-IT, you'll benefit from proactive maintenance, 24/7 monitoring, and streamlined technology that will help you grow your business. Visit simplex-it.com for more information and to start experiencing stress-free IT today.
So, but the challenge is, what do you do with that? Because on the one hand, you want to go out to market with that because the third grader in me is like, oh yeah, I'm going to be able to swear a lot by having this. And I'm going to be so, just going to be, giggling like a schoolboy. But at the same time, okay, it's a little juvenile. So instead, what we did and what we continue to do is we tell this story. And the reason we tell the story is because in theory, the anecdote is still a little bit entertaining. We give the idea, the whole background behind it, and there's a punchline to the joke, but it's a one-time joke. Now, we've come up with different ways of saying what we do. We come up with different ways to refer to it and review it. But it's one of those things where when you come up with that tagline, like crotchety old geek, when you come up with a tagline, you have to make sure that the tagline is authentic. Well, us delivering strong, healthy IT is absolutely authentic, but you also need to make sure that it is going to be, and I hate to say it's non-offensive because A, everybody gets offended about something. And B, no matter what you do, someone's going to say, and I don't mean this as a woke comment or anything along those lines, but someone can find something to be concerned about or complain about. But what I want to make sure of is that whatever that something is, that I'm only annoying people that probably wouldn't have been a good fit with us to start with. And so what I mean by that, and this is something, and we'll talk about this in a future episode, when we talk about what are our unique values, what are the things that we do that make us different from our competition or the like, and how do we phrase it? One of the comments I've always made whenever I talk to organizations about what their unique superpower should be is I've always said that you should strive for something that will turn some people away. But the ones who are turned away are ones you probably never would have succeeded with. And I think that's important because there are so many people who are caught up in this. I've got to please everybody. I've got to come up with something that is going to knock it out of the park every time it's stated, every time it's said, every time it's delivered or the like. And I think that's a nice thing to try for. But I think, and especially in a specialized field, such as managed service providers, or for smaller organizations that aren't going to appeal to everybody, I think it's just as important to communicate what you do, but also to communicate to a certain degree who your best fit is and who your best fit isn't. And that's why when we're talking about going through and trying to determine phrases or terms or best practices or results or taglines or whatever, there needs to be a little bit of time spent on why this is not a good phrase, why it's not a good slogan. And this is one of the reasons why we decided not to go with strong, healthy IT, is because we didn't like the joke, or we loved the joke. We just didn't want to be the tagline that we ran around with. So what is our tagline? What is it we deal with? It's in the name. Name of the company, Simplex-IT. Simple, complex. So we talk about, we simplify the complex. And that's what we try to do. So love to hear some feedback from you. And also, I'd love to hear your suggestions or ideas of any topics for future episodes or the like. Always remember to comment, like, share, come up with a musical number we could do later. And I'll talk to you next week.